Hang tight because today, we're diving deep into the long-awaited, much-feared, yet surprisingly absent 2023 US recession. That's right, we're talking about the phantom of the financial opera that had the experts on edge. The big bad wolf that, instead of huffing and puffing, seems to have vanished into thin air. Why? Buckle up as we unravel the mystery of the resilient US economy, the consumer-driven magic carpet that refuses to crash. Let's start with a quick and exciting Economic 101 and remind ourselves about GDP, Gross Domestic Product, the be-all and end-all of economic indicators. GDP represents the total value of all goods, as well as services produced within a country's borders over a specific time period. Essentially, it's the economic scorecard that tells us how well, or not, our economy is doing. Ever wonder what keeps our economic wheels turning? What fuels this giant, well-oiled machine that we call the US economy? Well, it's you, me, and our neighbors. It is every consumer out there. We're all small yet crucial cogs in this vast economic engine. Consumer spending takes center stage in many economies, the leading role, if you will. This is the spending by households on goods and services. From that shiny new car or the latest iPhone to your monthly Netflix subscription and that takeaway pizza on a Friday night. You see, when we spend, businesses prosper. Hire more people, pay higher wages, and voila, the economy thrives. In the US, this is even more significant. Picture this. Consumer spending accounted for a staggering 68.4% of the US GDP in the first quarter of 2023. That's right, folks. More than two-thirds. Our economy, in many ways, is like a consumer-powered car. If we're driving, the car's moving. If we're not, it's stalling. When the consumer is robust, the economy is robust. And if the consumer stays strong, it's pretty darn hard for the economy to tumble into a recession. So folks, give yourselves a pat on the back. You're not just spending, you're fueling the economy, one purchase at a time. While some experts predicted an economic fallout due to the Fed's rapid rise in interest rates to curb inflation, American consumers proved to be an economic Rocky Balboa. Tough, resilient, persistent, and with a knockout punch that stunned this potential recession into submission. At least, for now. So, how did our everyday heroes pull off this feat? Let's zoom in and examine the clever tactics and strategies that allowed the typical American consumer to weather this economic storm. One major shift involved consumers tightening their belts and becoming more frugal, which led to a transformation in shopping practices. The era of bulk buying took a backseat as consumers smartened up, adopting to a more tactical approach to shopping. Instead of loading up on monthly groceries, many began shopping more frequently, looking out for sales, discounts, and other deals that typically pop up on a day-to-day basis. Say hello to the savvy shopper who scours weekly flyers, compares prices between stores, and capitalizes on the price match guarantees. This frequent shopping approach, counterintuitive as it may seem, meant that consumers could buy when prices were at their lowest, maximizing their savings. Not only that, consumers started streamlining their purchases, focusing on necessities and reducing splurges. The era of needs took over the age of wants. People became more selective, cutting down on luxury purchases and non-essentials. Remember the expensive coffee routine from the fancy cafe around the corner? Now it's homebrewed Java and an occasional cafe visit as a special treat, not a daily ritual. But consumers didn't stop at cutting costs. Some also started exploring ways to supplement their income, adding some extra financial cushion. During the pandemic, the gig economy exploded, with people monetizing their skills online. From virtual tutoring and freelance writing to web design and social media management. The pandemic era is genuinely the renaissance of entrepreneurial spirit. So, in essence, the American consumers morphed into economic ninjas, adapting to the circumstances, re-evaluating their priorities, and making strategic moves to keep their financial ship sailing smoothly. Another potential explanation for consumer resilience may be connected to home price appreciation. Remember how home values shot up like a rocket during the pandemic? Well, it might have had far-reaching effects on our economic resilience. You see, our homes aren't just our castles. They're also a significant part of our financial portfolios. When their values increase, we feel wealthier. This phenomenon is what economists call the wealth effect. The theory is simple. When people feel good about their finances, they tend to spend more. After all, who doesn't enjoy a bit of retail therapy when they feel financially secure? And with home values skyrocketing, millions of homeowners found themselves sitting on a hidden treasure chest. How did they unlock this treasure? Enter home equity loans. By leveraging the increased value of their homes, many Americans drew funds from these loans, infusing their pockets with extra spending power. And where did this money go? Right back into our economic bloodstream, giving it a much-needed vitality boost. This may help explain another fascinating shift in consumer behavior: the experience economy. While consumers spent a lot of money on durable goods during the pandemic, many consumers now favor experiences over things. We're talking about travel, leisure, and entertainment. Sectors that were battered during the pandemic and are now rebounding with gusto. This trend is likely fueled by homeowners who benefited from rapid home price increases and higher income consumers splurging on experiences that bring them joy and fulfillment. So, whether it's a trek in the Rockies, a Broadway show, or dining in a Michelin star restaurant, these experiences inject fresh momentum into our economy. As of June 2023, recent economic reports show that the US economy is doing surprisingly well. Unemployment is low, consumer spending is robust, and business confidence is high. But don't put on your party hats just yet. Wall Street is still bracing for a potential recession. The combination of high interest rates and a tightening credit environment, driven by the failures of some regional banks earlier this year, are like storm clouds on the economic horizon. Remember those rapid interest rate hikes to curb inflation? It's essential to understand that interest rate changes aren't like turning on a light switch. They take time to filter through the economy, and the impact is often felt with a delay. It's like eating a chili pepper. The heat doesn't hit you immediately, but give it a minute, and you'll reach for that glass of water. As for interest rates, it typically takes around 12 months for the full effects of any increase or decrease to be completely absorbed and reflected in the economy. And to add fuel to the fire, after pausing in June, the Fed is now considering increasing interest rates again later this year, as it believes that inflation is not yet under control. This means monitoring how Americans finance their daily consumption habits will become increasingly important. If more and more people are turning to credit to buy everyday goods, we could be looking at some serious speed bumps ahead. Using a credit card to buy bread and milk is not the most sustainable strategy, right? So while our economy is in a good place right now, we must stay vigilant and informed, ready to adapt to changing circumstances. For our stock market investors out there, staying informed and understanding these macroeconomic shifts can be your trump card in the exciting and often unpredictable world of stock market investing. So keep those eyes open and that mind sharp, because the game of economics is always in play. Let's keep this conversation going, shall we? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. We're eager to hear your predictions about the direction of the US economy in the latter half of 2023 and what you think 2024 has in store for us. If you enjoyed today's video, show some love by smashing that like button. And if you have not done so yet, hit the subscribe button too. We'd love to have you join our community of savvy investors. So, until we meet again, here's wishing you all prosperous and joyful investing. See you soon, folks.